Hello and welcome to Market Psychology 101, where we look for value in the markets when there's fear and are cautious when there's greed. In today's video, we are going to be taking a look at Bitcoin mining stocks and seeing if the recent price action in Bitcoin, breaking above this descending channel and above prior all-time highs from 2021, seeing if this is bullish for Bitcoin mining stocks and where those stand today. So, with Bitcoin miners being stocks, it's important to have a look at where the stock market is. And we were up right on the border of extreme greed, getting down into greed and neutrality. On pie vesting, we are also in high greed. Now, a couple things to keep in the back of your mind, one of which is in election years, there tends to be volatility increasing into the election. Right here's the November line, so you can see the average towards the end of the month does tend to be negative. I don't believe we've seen that volatility or negativity in the markets quite yet, but if we do get a brief correction this week or early next week, just something to keep in mind. But typically post-election, Q4, Q1 after is always bullish. And also we had Fed rate cuts. There's going to be probably another cut coming in November. So if the Fed is cutting large and fast, if they do another 50 basis point cut, market's probably not going to love that. However, if they do 25 basis points or pause, then I would not be surprised to see the market rally, something like a 1998 style scenario. So we'll see. Let's get into crypto fear and greed. And what's interesting about crypto fear and greed, let me refresh this just to make sure this is completely accurate. We are up high into greed right now, but yes, greed is just stabilized. So what that tells me is even though the price of Bitcoin has broken the 70K mark on up to 71, 72K, whatever it is, that we aren't getting that FOMO into the markets quite yet. This might be ready to pop off, though it may still be teetering on that fake out type of movement. So just something to keep in mind. Of course, when it comes to mining stocks or altcoins, we are most concerned with the end of the Bitcoin cycles and alt season when Bitcoin dominance tanks. That's the overall percent of money in crypto that's in Bitcoin. That's around 60%. 60% of all money in crypto is in Bitcoin. When that money rotates into altcoins and miners, that's when we see very good profits. Alt season still trending up, and yesterday, every week, pretty much on Monday, I do videos on the crypto cycle, and we talk about the rainbow chart and different indicators each week on bullish and bearish scenarios. So let's get into Bitcoin and the miners. You guys can see here, since March, we've been in this descending channel, and a couple of things I noted as we've gotten to this place. So right now, obviously, I have my chart on log scale, and you can see there's this trend line Bitcoin's been in love with since bottom. Okay, great. What I also noticed is that there is a parallel trend line that Bitcoin started to become in love with as well, and it seems to be hitting it first as support, I guess you could say, now as resistance, even though that resistance is higher. So just something to watch. Can Bitcoin get above this trend line here, or is it going to start moving on this trend line and like this one more than the one that it did originally? Inversely, if we see a movement down, we have the 200-day moving average and this lower trend line, it's tagged twice. So if we did see a movement down, got somewhere in the low 60Ks, wouldn't be the end of the world to me because we do have that support. So right now, Bitcoin moving up pretty well. Let's see the impact that is having on mining stocks. Actually, before we get into Mara, I just want to touch on Bitcoin dominance really quick. Bitcoin dominance still going up. I'm looking for a level somewhere around 62%, which is right up here. And just something else to consider, guys. I'm probably going to do a designated video on this sometime in the near future, and that's Bitcoin dominance itself. And you can see it can peak well before the alt season, even swing all the way down. And during this time, Bitcoin had not broken out yet. So you can see here September 19th to around September of 2020. At that time, September 19th was right here, in September 2020 right here. So the true breakout wasn't going to happen until Bitcoin dominance was bottoming again, and then Bitcoin went up along with dominance, and then we had alt season. Also in 2017 bull run, you can see that Bitcoin dominance, it fell off and it stabilized here at around middle of July. And this was the true bull market. This was the true alt season right here at the bottom. But the bull market was this whole thing right here for the 2017 crypto. So I guess the reason I'm showing you guys this, and we'll dive more into the numbers later, is that even though Bitcoin dominance is going up, do not be surprised if it comes down, stabilizes somewhere, goes back up again, and then tanks. Just if you're watching that indicator, there's more to it than simply going down, or at least there has been in the past. All right, let's get into it. Marathon Digital Holdings. So Bitcoin having a big move are the mining stocks. And let's throw on our buy sell signal indicators. And you can see here that, there we go, they're starting to pop up, that we're having this movement up to the upper end of this channel. I want to see it break the upper end here around 21 bucks. If not, then you would look at the 0.5 fib at around 16.30 as support, or even $13. So if Mara got down to those prices, I'd say the good DCA levels right there. But if it breaks above the wedge, then the next area of resistance, you can see where these candles are around the 618 fib at $24. So $24 would be the final test before moving upward. But again, right now we've just been oscillating in this channel. So would I buy Mara right now? Be a little bit patient and see if it can get rejected off this trend line and try to scoop some up at the $16 mark. Riot, and guys, it's all up to you as far as what your strategy is. I try to combine moving averages, fibs, buy sell signals. I look at the stochastic RSI. It's all up to you what your strategy is, but what I will say is do have a plan. Do have your own plan. My plan doesn't have to be yours. And also, if you do pick the right altcoins or the right miners, just telling you, if you do pick the right ones and they 10x, you won't care if you're buying it up here or down here. Okay, so overall, just if you pick it. But if you don't, then you're going to hate the fact that you bought it not at a discount. So Riot's one that's been moving up pretty strong on the daily ever since it hit the 236. So we talked about how that was deeper value for Riot, and if you got in Riot when it was down here at $7, it moved. Excuse me. First time sneezing on the video. It moved up all the way to $11. So had to get that one out of my system. I was holding it in. So pretty good move here. I am waiting for somewhat of a pullback, but who knows? Riot's been doing pretty well for the last week. Does have the 382 fib and the 100-week moving average. If it can get above that, then you can see it's got to the 0.5 before, and we have this descending channel. So it can get up here and come back down. So right now, still at the 382, and yeah, we'll see what happens. I think very important spot here for Riot to see if it can get above all these moving averages and fib, their resistance, and turn them in support. But then again, we are in this descending channel, and what's it going to do when it tags up there? So next, let's go over to CleanSpark. I'll try to run through all these, but give quicker analysis. So CleanSpark made all the daily resistances and the supports as far as moving averages. However, it does have the 618 to contend with. If it rejects off the 618, then I wouldn't be surprised to see it come down to these moving averages, or you see this ascending trend line it's been in love with somewhere around the $10 mark, if you're willing to be patient. So see what happens here. If it is able to blast through, then you can see the 786, which it has not been able to get above. It's all the way at $21. So if you do like this fib range area and you don't care yield dollar cost average in here, you believe it'll go a lot higher, there you go. I like to get these right away when they have a buy signal, at least on the weekly. And as you can see, CleanSpark, it hasn't had a buy signal for a couple weeks. So another way you could look at it is this candle with the buy signal. Look at how much of an area it reached that week, and we are still within that buy signal candle. So you could have that perspective and be like, you know what? I could have bought in here when we had that buy signal and not caught it down here. So what's the difference? We're still in that range. That's fair. And if you're okay DCAing in the clean spark there, I would not blame you. And Cypher, in case any of you are getting FOMO, but again, guys, as Bitcoin's getting towards all-time high areas again, you're going to see retail coming in. You're going to see FOMO. Time in the market's more important than timing the market. Even just spending time, a few minutes every week, just looking at your handful of stocks or cryptos will give you an advantage over most people. Cypher, man, this one's been ripping up. Got above that brand new 200-week moving average. You can see over there that it's making that into support. Next is the 786. So if you can get above the 786, then you have that recent high to contend with at around $8. And then the upper end of this channel would have to be around $9, I assume. Yeah, $9.5. So Cypher, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks straight up. You'd figure there'd be a pullback sometime soon, but this movement's looking pretty strong. And I think that's what's causing some level of FOMO to slowly return into the crypto market, is that there have been altcoins, miners looking like this, Bitcoin getting towards a new all-time high area. Don't be surprised if right as retail starts to come back in, there's a little minor pullback, and then maybe we start to see the true move up. Next, let's go into TeraWolf. And no, I have a few people who really love Wolf here in the comments, and man, it is making a new yearly high. It has the 618 fib at around $8. So don't be surprised if there's a little bit of profit taking there. And if it does come back down, then maybe you look at that 200-week moving average as support here around the $5 mark. So a couple of things important to note. You'll see here we have a cross happening, which is the 50-week moving average moving above the 100. We have the 200 here, and down the line, if this continues, even if it starts chopping sideways, when that 50 moves above the 200, that could be months from now. That will probably be a very good time to be in TeraWolf. So again, we'll see if it gets above $8. If it does, the next fib level would be 16. Wouldn't that be great? But if it does come back down and you're feeling bad that you missed this move down here at $4, I would say the next value area would then turn into around $5 or the high $4 range if you're willing to be patient. Next, Bit Digital. Bit Digital, what do we got here? So Bit Digital, man, a lot of these miners looking bullish. So I think the market is getting ready to either pop off and break through all these resistances, as some of these miners are already doing, or these could be higher highs or just upper ends of the movements that we've had before. So the Bitcoin market, the crypto market, guys, I think the true test is going to be this Friday when unemployment data comes out. We're going to be watching that. If unemployment goes up, I would assume many of these would have a pullback. If unemployment stays somewhat within the same range or down, I assume these moves go higher. So that's my 2 cents on what is going to be happening with the price action as far as by the end of this week. So the markets like to do this. They like the front run what the news or the event that's going to happen, and then whether or not it's good or bad, we'll see the true move. So right here, Bit Digital on the upper end of this mark, we'll see if it can turn the 0.5 fib into support. But if it gets rejected, as it has 3 times before, then you can see we have higher lows here. The discounted area would be around the $3 area to $2.50 level. And then let's go to Bitfarms. Try to run through these a little faster. Bitfarms still at the low value. So if you're like, damn it, I missed the pumps on all these miners. Here's one that's still at decently lower value. Getting ready to move up. Had a buy signal last week and is on all those moving averages. So if Bitfarms moves, you can look at the $3 mark, high $2 mark as the next area to battle. Again, this 618 fib. If it gets above that, then of course we'll be in more bullish territory. But Bitfarm lagging behind the other ones by a little bit. So do your research, check the assets to liabilities ratio. Iris Energy, we've been talking about this one, crawling up the trend lines. Asking ourselves, is this a good area to buy? Is it going to break on our trend line? Well, it's just been crawling up it. Now it's having a good move up. So the next area is the 786 fib at high $13 mark, $14. So if it can get above that, then it's going to be revisiting former all-time highs. So in the past, it hasn't been able to. So don't be surprised if we get a little bounce here, and then iron goes up. So we've been talking about this one for a while. And this one, again, the way I look at it is I talk about the fibs, the stochastic RSI flipping positive, the moving averages. We're getting above those areas. So if you have FOMO, again, do your research, pick your list, and pay attention to those, because then you will be able to get on those opportunities when they arrive. Let's get into Core Scientific. And Core Scientific, creating more new all-time highs. So this one just keeps grinding up. If it did have any sort of a pullback, we'd be looking at this 236 or 382 area. Anything above the 0.5 really, if there was any bit of a pullback. But Core Scientific, not enough chart to really have a competitive advantage, but if there was a pullback, that's what you'd be looking for. And then BitDeer Technologies and Hive. BitDeer moving on up. We'll see if it gets past the 786 fib. If not, you can see that was an area that it wasn't really able to fully take before, and don't be surprised if it came back down. So if you're looking for discounts somewhere in the $8 to $5.50 range, so $5 to $8, if this is one you'd like, it'd be a good dollar cost averaging range. And then Hive Digital, last one here. There's another one. So moving up to some important fib and moving average resistance. See if it can get above that, right around the mid $4 mark. If it does get a rejection, comes down anywhere, I'd say, between 340 and well, you could go down here to $2. So anything under 340 would be deeper value for Hive. So anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Do you have any Bitcoin mining stocks? Do you feel this move by Bitcoin is a true move, or is this somewhat of a fake out like we saw in 2019? We had this descending channel, got above, and then below. We talked about dominance too, how dominance typically has it has a little bit more room to run than it typically has a little bit of movement down before finally going back up, and that being the true last leg. So tell me what you think in the comments below, and have a wonderful day. Take care.